Welcome to another episode of Five Lemons Laughing. We're a spiritual podcast turning lemons into lemonade. I'm Amanda. I'm here with Penny, Morgan, Melissa, and Drusilla. And today we're checking in on our words of the year, and we're halfway through this year. So we have a question for you. What happened to the word or to the listeners if you set an intention or a promise that you made to yourself in January? Did it become part of your life, something that you're doing every day, embracing it? Or did it become something that you just have to do, something that you need to achieve? And maybe the question is not whether you followed it perfectly, you made it something you had to do. Maybe it's simpler than that. Think back to the beginning of the year. Do you still remember what that intention, that word was pointing you toward?
Mm. Well, today we're all checking in with ourselves and with each other. And we've got to be really clear this is not setting ourselves up to judge ourselves or get down on ourselves or to see how productive we've been or if we've been perfect. Perfect in air quotes. Um, but to remember what we're truly reaching for when we chose that intention. I brought this story up. We've talked about it a couple times, I think off air, but hopefully I can do it justice. It is a Zen parable, and it's the Zen parable of the finger pointing to the moon. And it's a story about a teacher who points his finger towards the moon, and the finger helps the student know where to look. But the finger is not the moon. The finger helps the student become focused. But if the student is too focused on the finger, studying, judging it, or trying to follow it perfectly, they may never lift their heads and use their eyes to see what it was pointing towards. So our words and intentions and spiritual practices that we do is working the same way. Like for me, meditation, journaling, prayer, and even the word I chose this year um, really was supposed to guide me towards peace and freedom and trust and connection. But sometimes even I got focusing on the practice too much. Like, am I doing this today? Am I doing it for an hour? Did I do the insight timer? A lot of the meditations from the insight timer, and it has started to do this thing where it's like, congratulations, you've done 4 days in a row, 5 days in a row, 6 days in a row. Oops, you didn't do it again. Like and then it starts over, and it just frustrates me because I meditate a lot. I don't need someone counting for me. But anyways, that's a side note. We forget the deeper experience that our practices lead us towards. So we wanted to check in and ask if you still remember what your practices were pointing you towards, the feeling. Have you drifted from any of those practices that once helped you feel grounded and connected? And where in your own spiritual practice might you have been staring at the finger instead of looking towards the moon? That's it. And I know Penny has a story because
Well,
she kind of spurred this whole episode.
Oh, okay.
well, I have I pride myself, listen to that,
Pride.
pride myself on being really consistent with my morning practices and because I've learned that they keep me grounded, my days go much better, and life is just easier. Except when you get visitors. So we had some visitors for a few weeks, and I was not able to keep my morning routine going, and I really noticed it. And so I think I started looking at the finger and wondering, "Oh my gosh, why can't I get this done?" You know? And I was not able to just simply pause and breathe. Okay, I did it a couple times. Just be okay with whatever I could do to keep myself grounded and centered was good enough. But I started thinking, oh, I have to be, those practices, reading all this spiritual stuff, meditating for 20 minutes, all that has to be done in order for me to be centered and grounded. So I was totally looking at the finger and not thinking, okay, how can I be, or what can I do? I'm going to say do. I should have said be. How can I be today just to stay grounded and centered in love and acceptance? Acceptance was my word this year. And so I could have simply just accepted that I only have maybe 5 minutes because I needed sleep and I
Mm.
was wanting to be part of the morning activities and instead of sitting in my bedroom doing something on my own. So that's why we thought about doing this, is because I really noticed how that impacted me when I started judging that, oh, I'm not doing enough. And I actually, went into some of my old survival tactics. But I caught myself. That was good. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
You know what it made me think of is, like, we as humans have been conditioned to believe that if we don't get X hours of sleep, then our day is going to be crap. And we've assigned the same type of importance to our morning spiritual practice. If we don't do X, then Y is the result. And that's just a story that we've made up. And it's so simple to change your mind about the story when you become aware of it. Like, if I just don't tell myself that I'm going to have a crap day because I only got 5 hours of sleep last night instead of 7 or 8, then I will not have the experience of having a crap day. Like, it really can be that simple. And the same is true for the spiritual practices. But I definitely do the same thing, Penny. Like, I ascribe so much importance to it. And it's just a matter of changing that story, I guess.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's a great point, Morgan.
And in changing the story, I think it would be interesting to we'll go to Penny first since you kicked us off. You said your word for the year was acceptance. I thought it was surrender, but it doesn't matter, right?
It could be
Acceptance.
both. I need to
Yeah.
surrender to acceptance. How about?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, like, the big question that we're talking about today is, what was, like, kind of like, why did you choose that word? And what feelings did you want? Like, what did it represent? Because, we planned this episode, Melissa, Penny, and I have been thinking about, why did I choose my word? And I haven't landed like solid, like wasn't present there. So I'm curious, like, what Penny, we'll start with you.
Yes, I'm, excuse me. I'm always looking for freedom in all my relationships with my family, with my work, with my, everything, food, my spiritual practices, just freedom in all those relationships. So if surrendering or acceptance, whichever one, see, I may not even remember what my word is, um, is the word, then am I truly doing that? And some days I am, and some days I'm not. But the bottom line is I'm always looking for freedom in my relationships, freedom in just freedom. And some days I have it and some days I don't.
Is that true?
That's a really good question. It's of
Morgan's
course.
big question.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite question.
Yeah. Is it true? Is it true? Is it true? Well, Penny, the human being, the ego-driven Penny would say, yes, it's true. But of course, my higher self would say it's simply a choice. And I have a choice if I'm going to have freedom or not. And if I'm going to have surrender to whatever's going on around me and just accept it and move on. Yeah.
I like that
One thing
reframe.
I would love to add, based on what Morgan said, if we don't mind going back a little bit, is one thing as spiritual teachers and spiritual students, I think sometimes we forget that the things we learn in our spiritual journeys, or some of the tools those are beliefs too.
Mm.
And there's another place below that. That's the 0 point. And that's where you always have the opportunity to go. Whether you do your spiritual routine in the mornings, every minute, every second of the day allows that opportunity to go back to 0 point, to awareness. And that is the moon.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well said, Drusilla. Thanks for bringing us back there.
Yeah.
So what about you, Drusilla? What's your word? And why did you choose it?
My word of the year is love. And I almost said was. I did. And I chose it because at the end of the year, we did the course last year, right? And so at the end of the year, I felt that that was my, that was the next place for me to go, is to stay and love no matter what.
Mhm.
And so, wow, has it been challenging? So we started out with me working on my love theory show, dating show. And so I had to cancel that event that was going to kick off the show. And we still have not ironed down another time to kick it off. And then after that, there was, deaths in the family actually every month, February, March, April, and May. And so I have had the ultimate, I would say, ultimate test, not as if the universe is testing me, but what I've asked for is being tested, right? By my own self. It's my, my spirit and my human ego, bumping up against each other along the way. And it has been, I was just thinking this morning on my walk that I I felt some spiraling since my mom passed. And I've just accepted that it's okay, you know? Just this morning, I said to myself, well, it's okay. You haven't destroyed anything or, been mean to anybody. You've just been in your feelings about a lot of things. And so I just allow myself to be that and to honor that part of myself.
It sounds like you're loving yourself, Drusilla.
Yeah, I think that it's the same as what I said about the practice. It's like, okay, you've done that, Drusilla. I don't have a morning routine anymore. I walk for the exercise and to clear my head to start the day, but I don't feel any type of way if I don't do it. But I think that this is such a great topic because I want to not be dependent upon a routine anymore to stay in my loving heart and to stay in awareness. And I feel like it's been a tough first part of the year and in my love fest journey, but I feel like it's going to be so worth it, or it is so worth it to have that as my commitment. Yes, that's what I feel today. Don't ask me tomorrow because it might be different. But yeah, that's where I landed with this morning.
Well, I love the freedom you have to just say, I don't have a morning practice, and I do what I do.
I mean,
That-
the whole
well,
thing is that our whole day should be our practice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We shouldn't have to set that aside. I aspire to be that, Drusilla, as well.
I find a practice like creates a focus, or it like brings me back to out of the ego stuff. I think that's the finger in the moon. Out of the ego stuff into the place I really want to be, which is, like you said, my loving heart. It's just kind of a refocus or a reminder, my practices. And I'm working towards what you have, but I allow myself the freedom of waking up, and if it doesn't happen that morning, it doesn't happen. But I do have some practices that I like to do. So But if I wake up and I do something else, oh well.
What was your word, Melissa?
I was just going to say,
Same
my
question.
word was surrender. And my practices do help me point towards it, but it's more of my life that, like you said, Penny, that helps me reflect on it. And I loved that you brought this up yesterday because I had been thinking yesterday that I wanted to change my word from surrender to empty. So
Mm.
there's something different about it for me. Like I'm to the point where surrender is almost a struggle, uh like signifying a struggle within myself, and empty is just I have nothing to inhabit my conscience with, and I'm open to whatever is there. I'm really into like trying to dissolve the boundaries, my ego boundaries. And so I feel like emptying is part of that. Really allowing myself to feel and be one.
I love
So
the word empty.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Yeah, it felt so good to hear you
mhm,
say that word.
mhm. And I think there's a part of it too that is like um not like there aren't a lot of practices that go with it except for just being. I actually envision myself like taking a bucket and like taking everything out of myself and dumping it. And I do it like 4 times, like dip in my body, take stuff out and dump. And it's not stuff, it's literally just like the spiritual inside of me. So that's a little look in my world.
Now, speaking of things that you could do, do you think the Ho'oponopono, the 0 point, is closely aligned to emptiness? I see it as being the same, but it may not be from your perspective.
No, it's not for me. I mean, I understand what it's for, but it's really for me to just let go of everything. It's not associated with a person or a thing or a connection even.
So Melissa, kind of what I'm struggling with, I mentioned it earlier. So like, why would you want to be empty? Like, what do you get out of it? Like what's the point of that?
Um, the point for me is to like I think match my insides and my outsides with having no agenda, no plan, no ego. Like I think it's the ego stuff. I think it's my story. This other line helped me that I was reading or something about this week, and it was under my story my freedom lies. So when I heard that, I just kept saying it to myself, and I really like feel in my body that under my story I'm empty. Not in a bad way, in an emptiness to the universe. Like the universe is filling me, that's what's underneath there. And my story is the one that's clogging everything up.
Mhm.
So I
I agree
think
with that.
so I think what I do, like I just had this visualization of like I'm just digging out with buckets this ego into emptiness, which is 0 point,
Yeah,
which is,
it is. I think it is
Mhm.
too. And it's making me think of like um the vastness of space. Like
right.
there is more nothing in the universe than there is something. And even if you get down to the quantum level and looking under a
Yes.
microscope, like, there's vast distance between particles and electrons and stuff like that. So like
Yeah.
everything is mostly space. and emptiness. And we've been kind of
Yeah.
taught to fear that in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's really more or less what we are, what God is. And I don't know if we're trying to describe the indescribable.
And I think that it's just such an identity that I feel like I'm letting go of. And it's not I will be empty and I'll disappear, or I'll be empty and wither away or not be interesting or whatever. Like, I will empty, and every possibility is allowed now to be there.
Yeah, you'll be empty and then you'll be love, right?
Yeah. Love, light.
Mm-hmm.
Something
It's
about it
beautiful.
also makes me think about, not caring if you receive praise or criticism, just kind of like empty of any, not caring if you receive $1 million or if you're flat broke. Like, just, it's something about just, again, all the layers of identification with the world, like any
Yeah.
stories, I don't know. That's what's coming to me.
Acceptance to whatever's going on. Yeah.
Do you remember why you first chose the word surrender at the beginning of the year?
Well, I think, my first, how I am into acceptance.
Mhm.
And I think acceptance for me also had a struggle involved. And then surrender was for me like the next step of that. Like, I don't have to have that struggle, that I'm just surrendering to what's next. But there's still a story involved. I think that's why I moved to emptiness, because there's not a story there for me.
You're going deep, Melissa. I love it. Yeah.
So I have a question though. This is so good. I'm glad we're going so deep on this today. So Melissa, if you imagine a year from now and you're emptying yourself, do you then look back and still think that that's a thing, a struggle, a process?
Mhm. Um,
Is it still the finger or the moon?
think emptying is. Empty
Okay.
is not. So
Yeah.
emptying is still a doing. Um, but yeah, empty is a being, just a being.
Mm.
What do you think?
I've been practicing this meditation, Awareness, Watching Awareness by Michael Langford. And that has been quite interesting. Like, who's watching? Who is to become aware of who is aware of the awareness? It's
Yeah.
been really, really
Yeah.
challenging for me.
Yeah.
So just awareness, watching awareness. That's what I'm hearing from you, is that who is it? Yeah. Who is aware?
I don't even think there is a who for me.
Right.
It is just
Yeah.
like, I think I'm naturally gravitating towards a lot of reading, podcasts, praying, meditations that are really about like being at the 0 point, like really having no boundaries, that being the universe. And so, like, when you say being aware of being aware, it would even be like, couldn't even be aware of that, because it just is.
Mhm.
Kind of like how God is not aware of this whole dream state that we're in, according to A Course in Miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Taking us deep with this one, Melissa.
Mhm.
I hear a question coming out from Amanda.
I was just
Oh,
I'm
geez.
putting off mine all the way to the end, so I want to hear Morgan's. And it's just interesting how this is going. What was your word?
Mine was surrender also. And I think I chose that word at the beginning of the year. I was in a rough spot at the beginning of the year. I don't know if y'all remember. Um, John Mark was drinking. We were kind of in a limbo phase of our life, feeling stuck, feeling strain in a bunch of different areas. And I was just in a funk. And so I think that's kind of where that word was born for me. Like it was like a recognition that I was in an intense state of resistance to what was going on in my life. So, um, and I remember when we did our check-in at the spring, like first quarter of the year, we kind of landed on the realization that even if you had forgotten what your word of the year was and were not necessarily intentionally practicing it, the universe had a way of delivering the lessons and based on that power of setting our intention at the beginning of the year. And that's kind of the point of our morning practices often too, is like to set the intention for the type of day we'd like to have, the way we'd like to show up in the day. So it's kind of like these words chase you, whether you're chasing them or not, when you set that intention at the beginning of the year. And I feel like I have been really living to that word surrender, but it definitely doesn't look the way that I thought that it would. My morning practice has shifted quite interestingly. Like I get up and I go into the living room where I've always done my morning quiet time. And I just kind of go back to sleep on the couch with all my pets. And it's like, it is such like it's not like a deep sleep or anything. It's just such a very present awareness. Like I love being surrounded by my pets and it's just like so cozy and so just like it's just like exactly where I want to be and exactly what I want to be doing. And the ego niggles with these little thoughts of all the other things that I should or could be doing that maybe would be more beneficial or more um whatever. Journaling. There's so much I could be journaling about. I could journal my intention for the day. I could read A Course in Miracles, which I still do pretty regularly. I could, do some Kundalini yoga practice, get some energy flowing and get some of the stagnation out. I could, all these different things that I coulda, shoulda, woulda. But I'm just like, meh. I'm just completely surrendered to this is what my mornings have been looking like for the past few months. And I'm just rocking with it. And I'm just like, okay with it. So,
I think you said something that for me would be my like alarm clock, the shoulds. So I think that's when you get focused on the finger instead of the moon, is you're in the shoulds. And that would be a really good thing to remember when we do, oh, I should be journaling, I should be doing my gratitude list. You're caught the finger.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the ego is so persistent, but I have gotten quite good at recognizing and just kind of like, just kind of dismissing it when that little voice shows up. But it shows up consistently anyway, no matter how many times I've flitted away like a pesky little fly.
In 12-step recovery, they say that the ego's out in the parking lot doing push-ups, just waiting for a little sign of weakness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Morgan, it does sound like the surrender, kind of embracing it. And I love that you're not making hanging out with your pets wrong, right? Because that sounds like nirvana, right? I mean, that sounds like you're in the 0 point, and not having to change it at all.
Yeah. Thank you for that reflection. Yeah, I think it's just a part of my morning that's like I am a manifesting generator. The personality Morgan programming system is a manifesting generator. And I like to be busy. I like to be mentally, creatively stimulated. And it's kind of like that morning is like the only one of the few times in my day where I'm not doing. And I know as soon as I get off that couch, it's like, it's time to feed the dogs. It's time to make my smoothie. It's time to, da 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 da. Everything starts. And it's sort of just like one of the parts of my day that there's nothing to do. Nobody else is awake, just me. And, so sort of what it's become.
Beautiful.
So Amanda, it's your turn.
My word was acceptance.
Mm.
And I'm thinking back to the beginning of the year, like, why did I choose acceptance? And like my ego keeps is chiming in, right? Like, like it sounds so weird, like, but to like, I mean, I think part of the reason is like I don't want my life to be hard. Like I don't want to have to struggle. I don't struggling verbs sound exhausting to me right now. Right? Every verb sounds exhausting. And and that seems so superficial to me. Like I just, I have a hard time admitting that, right? Because it seems lazy. Um, so that's why I chose it. I don't want to dance around the reason. I mean, and 6 months or 7 months out, looking back at why, like I'm sure when I chose that word, I had some really good reason. I just don't know what it is right now. Um, So I've been living in acceptance. And Morgan, I love the way that you said like the word chases you because I've had some things I've talked about here, like having to accept things, and not necessarily make them okay, but like life happens, it just I've chose to be here on this planet to experience life, and life is happening. Um, as far as my practice goes, I wanted to say, like, I don't do any practice now. And Morgan, when you were talking about being with your animals, like I do go out and spend an hour with my horse every day, and that is nothing else is, right? Even my husband goes out and works with his horse. But um but after we're done doing that, we talk to each other about what we did, and like I have no concept of what he's doing. Like I'll catch a glimpse out of his eye, my eye about what he's working with, him and Percy. But my focus is so, I'm so present. So that is a practice. So I'm like, yay me. Yay ego me. I have a practice, right? When I was thinking that I didn't have one. And I love like being in bed with my dogs is like, oh my God, like it's just, I'm so happy when I'm there.
Mm.
Yeah. And then part of me is like, can I accept that and just say, yes, this is what life looks like now. I get to take naps. I get to, with my dogs, like that is just my life now. And then there's another part that's like, but, should, could, don't coulda, shoulda, woulda, me. So I'm feeling like in a little limbo place is what's happening.
How does it feel to be there?
It feels kind of like a verb, like I'm in the middle of a verb. Mhm. I'm
Funny.
trying to do. I'm trying to accept. I'm trying, right? That's yes.
Ah.
I'm verbing. I'm verbing.
Instead of looking at the moon, which is
Yeah.
just accepting it.
Yeah. Instead
Yeah.
of being the moon, I am, ing, ing.
Isn't that crazy? Because I mean, we just like that is just the best, sweetest thing. And we beat ourselves up for like, gotta get out of bed, gotta go do something, gotta be productive, don't be lazy. And
Gotta
you're
prove
like,
ourselves.
yeah, you're just like, you're loving hanging out with your animals or you're resting your body. I like just that needs to just be okay and totally worthy and or not even have a definition.
What came
Well,
to
and
my mind, Amanda, when you were speaking is that you said you don't have a practice anymore. It's like, you're not practicing, you're in the game now. Like
Ooh.
You're in the game.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Because it is like, I guess I was wallowing a little. See, INGing. I was INGing. I was wallowing in feeling like I'm stuck, right? Like something is not happening correctly. And like I'm so excited. My friend um has to have a procedure at the hospital. Not that I'm excited about that, right? That's not what I'm excited about. But my life is enough when she called me yesterday or the day before and asked if I could, take her to the hospital and, like do all of these things for her procedure. I'm like, of course I can, right? I have the time. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just the wait, the INGing, the waiting. I mean, Melissa, since you said that, I'm never gonna think about verbing differently, right?
That's
What do
funny.
you think you should be doing?
Well, of course, I should be doing yoga every day. I should be walking more. My diet should be different. I should be, all of those things, right? That's what I should be doing.
Yeah, a lot of those shoulds that we put on ourselves. I just want to bring this to some of our listeners might have a regular 9 to 5 job, and
Yeah.
most of us here in this podcast don't. So it gives us a little bit more flexibility um, to to do what we're talking about. I'm just going to say that for
Mhm.
myself. I feel that it gives us a little more flexibility. And as I've been releasing and surrendering to not needing to prove myself, not needing to be so do, and more being, I notice that when I go into the office, that it's just easier. It's like I'm not, oh, I wonder how things are. I mean, I am also in a position where I'm not doing the day to day operating of our company at this point. I mean, my daughter is, and I trust her completely, and I know she's doing a great job. And and when I do go into the office, I go in almost every day, but I'm not a but. And I notice that I'm not as attached to whatever's going on. So I think the whole point of this conversation today is that we can, no matter what we're doing in our life, if we have a 9 to 5 or whatever type of job, or whatever we're doing in our life, that we can still be no matter what. We can still empty ourselves. We can still surrender. We can still love, even though not a lot of corporations think that. It's a lot about performance and about what you're doing. And if you're getting and I mean, that's important too. If you're running a company, it's so hard sometimes to think about all of this and incorporating it into a corporation. It's been one of my biggest challenges most of my life. But yeah, so surrendering to it and remembering that it's not the finger, it's the moon that we're going for. It's the freedom, the love, the acceptance. But I just wanted to say that. I don't know what you guys all think about that or what you.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think of our conversation last week. I think it was last week, maybe the week before, but like, you can experience a sense of freedom even if you're in prison. And it's like it's the same type of a thing. And many spiritual teachers speak all the time about how the fastest path to awakening is the householder's life. And it's in relationships, not living in a desert island or a
Mhm,
monastery. So,
mhm.
that does and by no means is working a 9 to 5 a hindrance to this.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up just so that
Yeah,
the
I think it's worth
listeners.
mentioning for
Yeah.
sure. I think
Well, and you can also be doing a practice thinking, "Oh, I should be at work. I should be doing something. I should be working. Oh my God, I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta hit the road."
Mhm.
So it goes both ways. And I'm like, I don't do this all day long, right? I mean, I'm not like sitting in meditation all day long. I have a time that I need to stop by to go to work. I work on the computer. But I do have flexibility. I don't have to be there. I am my own boss, that kind of thing. But I think that, yes, Penny, there are people that have 9 to 5 jobs,
No,
and this may be really difficult.
But no, but what I'm trying to say is that doing this emptiness, this surrender, acceptance, love can be incorporated into a 9 to 5
Yeah.
job. And
Yeah.
if we are setting okay, I still see it for me. I still have to have some sort of a practice to, life is a practice. Oh my gosh, I'm like doing a circular thing with me. I mean, just staying in my loving heart is the best thing for me. And, not thinking I have to perform or prove myself.
Yeah.
And just being with what I'm doing is the best thing. But I'm just saying that I was just trying to make that point that
Mhm.
all of what we've been
Very
talking about today can carry you into your 9 to 5 if
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
you're
And it
doing.
Yeah.
did for me for a long time. I mean, I
Mhm.
was working a 9 to 5 up until 2022. And, I would wake up early and have a little bit of a morning quiet time. And I would listen to a spiritual podcast while I was showering and getting ready for work in the morning. And I would usually like pray or set my intentions on my commute to work in the morning. So there's ways, there's ways to do it, even if you have a very busy life and a lot of responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a very busy life and a lot of responsibilities. So, yeah.
Excellent.
I was having the experience of bringing my stress into my practice.
Mm.
So, like, I was trying to meditate, and then just thinking of the stress that I have in work or whatever. And so I was talking to someone, and they were like, why don't you allow peaceful Melissa to be in your life before 10 a.m.? And at 10 a.m., you can move into the other parts of your life, which is unfolding and teaching me lessons, but like I don't have to try and solve my life problems in my meditation, and I don't have to meditate all day and forget my work. So I have been doing this like I mean, if I get up and I don't do anything and I walk dogs or have a long cup of coffee with a friend or something, whatever, I just get up the next day and try to do it again, try to meditate or whatever. But I have been doing this like 10 o'clock cutoff, and it has allowed me to meditate and to relax during the morning, not thinking that I have to solve those problems within my practice.
I think those are a lot of good um, ways that our listeners can go about their day, and it may be that they do them differently every day. That's what I used to do, because for that reason, I didn't want to feel trapped in any way of doing it because I
Yeah,
knew then that was working against the whole point in what I
yeah,
was doing.
yeah,
Right. So for some people, they may have a 9 to 5 and it's a part of their job maybe could be to see how much I can stay in my loving heart, especially if you're dealing with customers and you're interfacing with other people. That is a practice in and of itself, is to, stay grounded and to stay in your loving heart no matter what. So we don't have to compartmentalize our spiritual practice.
yeah.
Every conflict, every interaction is an opportunity to display your spiritual growth, practice, knowledge, and willingness in that moment.
I was studying the Gita this week with my mentor, and the part that we're at, um, your karma can either be a struggle or a celebration. So we can either struggle or we can celebrate that another opportunity to grow.
Mm.
So that's when you were talking about that, Drusilla, that just reminded me of that, yeah. So often I struggle and I'm tired of struggling. I want to just be okay with whatever's going around. Have that, yeah, surrender to the acceptance. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Great
Melissa, I love the way
conversation.
they go ahead, Morgan.
I was just saying, great conversation we've had today.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
It's Melissa, like when you say at 10 o'clock, you switch. And back to Morgan's point, like your intention chases you. Like, so like you just, you go into your work, but your emptiness, your surrender goes with you into work. It just might
Yeah.
not be on your
Hmm.
mind, but it
Hmm.
is there.
It is
Yeah.
on my mind. It was actually more for me not to it was more for me not to bring this problem solving into
Mm.
my meditation, into my
Oh,
practice.
interesting.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's the boundary that it set for me. Like, I can really use my practice to bring me back to a very calm, centered, accepting, surrendered, empty spot. Because imagine if I was trying to work out, oh, what am I going to do on that website? Oh my God, I got to da 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 while I'm trying to be in that state.
I
It
see.
was not working. So it made it, this was a piece of advice someone gave me, and it has really helped me say, oh, okay, this other work stuff, I'll just deal with that later.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, I got it backwards, so I'm
Beautiful.
glad I asked that question.
Mhm.
Me too.
Beautiful. Well, there was a ton of Post-its out of this episode, let me tell you. Of course, I mean, our words, surrender, love, empty, acceptance. I added it. I added it to the group, to the list. I like that. I want to be empty too. And beneath the tools is awareness. That's really what we were talking about, that beneath all the tools is awareness. I love that. And, staying in love no matter what. That's a good one. And of course, we said, and you just said it too, Amanda, that our word, our intention will chase us no
Mhm.
matter what's going on. Can't get away from it. And then I loved this one. Under our story, freedom lies. Yeah. And then there are many ways to practice. So many ways that we can practice being surrender, being love, being empty, being acceptance. So it's just, yeah, it's amazing. We're halfway through the year, and we've focused on today. The question is not whether you followed your intention perfectly, but it's whether you still remember what it was pointing you towards. And we focused on that a lot. And just remember that if you've drifted, if you've not remembered what your word was, because like I forgot, mine was surrender. I thought it was acceptance, but I guess maybe I wanted to change mine too. Well, you've not failed. You have simply noticed that it may be time to return to what you set yourself up for the year, because your intention is chasing you. Your word is chasing you, whether you remember it or not. And there's some simple ways to just begin again. And you can first write down your word and finish this sentence. I choose this because I wanted to feel more, whatever it is for you. And then separate the finger from the moon and ask yourself, what is the practice, the plan, or the goal? And what was it meant to help me experience? We talked about a lot of that during this episode. And finally, just choose one small way to reconnect today. Sit quietly, maybe take a walk, cuddle with your pets, journal, pray. Yeah, just simply pause. Just pause and remember that you're a beautiful, beloved child of God. And you need to do nothing to prove yourself, right? Yeah. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, perfection gets in the way for me a lot. So I'm still working on it. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us today. We so appreciate all of your love and support. And remember, your transformation is our greatest joy. So we look forward to connecting with you again next week. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.